Listen to that. That is the sound of the future. Silence, clean air, the hum of progress. We are told that by buying an electric vehicle, we are saving the planet. We are told that we are the heroes of a new green revolution. But what if that silence is a lie? What if the reason you do not hear an engine is because the screams are happening 4,000 miles away? What if the battery sitting underneath your feet right now was not forged in a high-tech laboratory, but was dug out of the earth by the bleeding hands of a 6-year-old child who will never live to see the age of 30? They call it the green future. I call it the bloodiest financial laundering operation in human history. You feel it, do you not? The inflation eating your paycheck, the cost of a new car skyrocketing beyond affordability. You are told this is the price of saving the earth, but the unfiltered truth is that you are paying a premium to subsidize a system of modern-day slavery that makes the transatlantic slave trade look inefficient. The banks know it. The tech giants know it. And by the end of this video, you will know it too. We are going to expose the financial mechanism that turns human blood into stock market gains. Before we descend into the pit, I need to know who is brave enough to face this reality. Where are you watching from? Drop your country in the comments right now. And if you are tired of the sanitized, corporate-friendly news that protects the elites while you pay the bill, smash that subscribe button. You are here for the unfiltered truth. Let us begin.
To understand the battery in your pocket or your driveway, we have to go back. Not 10 years, not 20 years. We need to go back to 1885. A man named King Leopold II of Belgium pulled off the greatest real estate scam in history. He convinced the world powers that he was not interested in conquering the Congo for power. Oh no! He claimed he was a philanthropist. He was going there to civilize the locals, to end the Arab slave trade, to bring Christianity and commerce. He framed it as a humanitarian mission. Sound familiar? Today, the rhetoric has shifted from civilization to decarbonization. The global elites are not coming to save the souls of the Congolese. They are coming to save the planet. The moral high ground is the ultimate camouflage for robbery. Leopold did not want souls. He wanted rubber. The world was industrializing. The bicycle craze was booming, and soon the automobile would arrive. The world was hungry for tires. Rubber was the black gold of the late 19th century. So Leopold turned the entire Congo Free State into a forced labor camp. He instituted a quota system. Every village had to bring in a certain amount of rubber sap. If they did not meet the quota, the force publique, his private mercenary army, would march into the village. They would not just kill the men. To save bullets and prove they had done their job, they were ordered to cut off the hands of the victims. Baskets of severed hands were delivered to the colonial officers as receipts for productivity. Now, fast forward to today. Look at the Democratic Republic of Congo. It holds roughly 70% of the world's known cobalt reserves. Cobalt is the gray gold of the 21st century. It stabilizes the lithium-ion batteries in your phone, your laptop, and that shiny new Tesla. Without cobalt, the batteries overheat. Without cobalt, the green revolution catches fire and burns down. The commodity has changed from rubber to cobalt. The technology has changed from tires to batteries. But the system? The system is identical. Instead of the force publique, we have unregulated militias and corrupt government officials. Instead of quotas for rubber sap, we have the crushing demand of the global supply chain for cobalt ore. Back then, the wealth flowed from the Congo to build the beautiful palaces of Brussels. Today, the wealth flows from the Congo to build the glass headquarters of Silicon Valley and the balance sheets of Wall Street. Sound familiar? It should, because the model of extraction has not evolved. It has simply been financialized. Leopold used the humanitarian guise to hide his atrocities. Today's corporations use ESG, environmental, social, and governance scores, to hide theirs. They create a layer of bureaucratic fog so thick that you cannot see the children dying in the mud. In the 1890s, if you bought a rubber tire, you were indirectly funding a regime of mutilation. But you did not see it. The supply chain was long and opaque. Sound familiar? Today, when you buy an EV, the glossy brochure tells you about zero emissions. It tells you about the carbon footprint. It does not tell you that the cobalt in the cathode was dug out by artisanal miners, a polite term for desperate men, women, and children digging tunnels with their bare hands hundreds of feet underground with no ventilation, no support beams, and no safety gear. When those tunnels collapse, and they collapse every single week, those people are buried alive. There are no funerals. There are no records. They are simply swallowed by the earth to keep your battery charge holding at 100%. History does not repeat itself, but it rhymes. And right now, the rhyme is a scream.
Now, the mainstream media, when they actually dare to cover this, will tell you a very specific lie. They will tell you, oh, the major tech companies are cleaning this up. They only buy from industrial mines. They do not buy from the artisanal child laborers. They want you to believe there are two separate supply chains. Chain A, the clean, safe industrial mines run by international giants using bulldozers and safety equipment, and Chain B, the dirty, illegal artisanal mines run by warlords. They tell you that Apple, Tesla, Samsung, and BMW only buy from Chain A. Here is the twist that shatters that illusion. There is no Chain A. The mechanism that enables this entire conspiracy is something called the mixing depot. You see, industrial mines have boundaries, but the veins of cobalt do not respect fences. Thousands of artisanal miners, the cruisers, dig right up to the edge of the industrial concessions. Sometimes they dig underneath them. So what happens to the sacks of cobalt these children dig up? They do not have the factories to process it. They have to sell it. They carry these sacks, sometimes weighing 50 kilos, to trading depots, essentially shacks dotting the roadside. These depots are known as maisons d'achat. Who buys the ore at these depots? Middlemen. And where do the middlemen sell it? They drive it straight into the gates of the clean industrial refineries. Once that artisanal ore is dumped into the acid bath for processing, it mixes with the industrially mined ore. It is chemically impossible to distinguish the clean cobalt from the blood cobalt. It all becomes one gray sludge. The industrial mines rely on this. It is cheaper to let desperate locals dig the dangerous high-grade ore by hand and buy it for pennies than it is to use heavy machinery. They are outsourcing the risk of death to children and then buying the product at a discount. This is not an accident. This is the business model. And who is orchestrating this laundering of minerals? It is not just some faceless warlord. It involves the biggest mining conglomerates on Earth and a specific superpower that has cornered the market. You will not believe the name of the entity that controls the choke point of this entire global operation. It is not a company you see on the stock market ticker every day, but they own the receipt for the electric future. And that receipt is wilder than you think.
Let us strip away the marketing and look at the mechanics of the heist. We need to talk about the ESG arbitrage and the Chinese refining monopoly. First, the geography of control. While the Congo has the dirt, China has the chemistry. Chinese state-backed companies control roughly 15 of the 19 largest industrial cobalt-producing mines in the Congo. Even more critical, China controls over 80% of the world's cobalt refining capacity. This means that even if a Western company digs the rock out of the ground, it almost inevitably has to be shipped to China to be turned into battery-grade sulfate. The key player here is a company called Huayou Cobalt. They are a massive supplier to the world's battery giants like LG Chem and CATL, who in turn supply Volkswagen, Tesla, and Apple. Here is how the financial parasite works. It is a game of plausible deniability funded by your 401k. At the bottom of the pyramid is the cruiseur. A child in the Congo earns approximately 80 cents to $2 per day. For this pittance, they breathe toxic cobalt dust, which causes a lung disease specifically known as hard metal lung disease. It shreds their respiratory system. Pregnant women working in these mines have babies born with horrific birth defects due to heavy metal poisoning. This labor is the base layer of the trillion-dollar EV pyramid. Then comes the washing machine, the depot. The ore is sold to the maison d'achat, largely owned by Chinese intermediaries. They buy the sack for pennies. They mix it. This is where the blood is washed off. Once it enters the refinery supply chain, it receives a stamp of legitimacy. It is no longer child labor cobalt, it is just feedstock. Next is the corporate shield, the audit. Western tech giants know this happens, so they hire third-party auditors. These auditors fly in, stay at nice hotels in Kinshasa, visit a model mine where everyone is wearing a helmet for the day, check a box, and fly home. It is theater. A report by Amnesty International found that not a single major tech company could fully map their cobalt supply chain. They rely on the complexity of the market to excuse their ignorance. Finally, we have the ESG capital loop, the trillion-dollar illusion. This is where the financial parasite enters. Investment firms like BlackRock and Vanguard push ESG investing. They tell you to put your retirement money into ethical funds. To get into these funds, companies like Tesla or Apple need high ESG scores. How do they get high scores? By producing green technology. The algorithm rewards them for the end product, an electric car, but largely ignores the human cost of the raw material, provided there is a policy in place on paper. This creates a moral hazard. The financial system rewards the speed of the EV transition. If a company slows down to ethically source cobalt, their costs go up, their margins go down, and their stock price tanks. If they turn a blind eye and buy the cheap, mixed cobalt, their margins stay high,
Their ESG score remains green because they are fighting climate change, and their stock soars. Capitalism, in its current parasitic form, seeks the path of least resistance. The path of least resistance runs directly through the bodies of Congolese children. Let us look at the numbers. They are staggering. The global market for lithium-ion batteries is projected to hit $400 billion by 2030. The price of cobalt reached nearly $82,000 per metric ton in 2022. Yet the communities sitting on top of this wealth are some of the poorest on the planet. The DRC has a GDP per capita of less than $600 a year. Where is the money going? It is going to the refiners, mostly Chinese entities like Huayou. It is going to the traders, like Glencore, the Swiss giant. And it is going to the shareholders of the end-user tech firms. This is an engineered collapse of human rights. It is not an accident. The system is designed to extract value from the periphery in the Congo and concentrate it in the core in New York, London, and Shanghai. Think about the sheer greed required to look at a child covered in toxic mud, hand him $1, take the rock he found, put it in a car, sell that car for $60,000, and then pat yourself on the back for saving the polar bears. It is a level of cognitive dissonance that borders on psychopathy. The financial mechanism is a do not ask, do not tell policy enforced by the stock market. If you ask too many questions, the supply chain slows down. If the supply chain slows down, the green revolution misses its targets. Therefore, the suffering is not just a byproduct, it is a prerequisite for the speed at which the West wants to transition. They are essentially short-selling human rights to go long on battery tech. And don't think this is temporary. The demand for cobalt is expected to jump 500% by 2050. Do you think the mines will get safer when the demand is 5 times higher? Or do you think they will dig faster, deeper, and with even less regard for the human debris left behind? The green premium you pay for that car is not going to the miner, it is going to the compliance officers, the marketers, and the asset managers who package this brutality into a neat, guilt-free investment portfolio called the future.
We are walking a dangerous path. We are building a new global infrastructure on a foundation of sand and blood. The irony is suffocating. We are destroying the environment in the Congo, poisoning the water tables with heavy metals, cutting down rainforests to dig open pits, all in the name of environmentalism. This is the ultimate lesson in denial. We want the luxury of the future without the guilt of the past. We want to believe that our technology has liberated us from the brutality of the 19th century. But it has not. It has only hidden it better. The stakes for the next collapse are higher than ever. Because this supply chain is global, it is interconnected. If the Congo collapses into total chaos, or if the geopolitical tension over these minerals explodes, the entire green economy grinds to a halt. We are building our houses on borrowed time, using materials dug up by people we refuse to acknowledge. We are trusting institutions, banks, governments, corporations that have proven time and time again that they will trade human life for a quarterly profit margin. So, the next time you see a silent electric car gliding down the street, I want you to hear the noise. I want you to hear the pickaxes. I want you to hear the silence of the world ignoring the cost. Do not let them gaslight you into thinking this is progress.
This is just the old colonialism with a new coat of green paint. Now I have to ask you, are we wiser now, or are we just walking the same path in better suits? If this video opened your eyes to the machinery behind the curtain, you know what to do. Share this. Skepticism is the only defense we have left. Hit that subscribe button, because the algorithms hate this kind of truth, but we are going to keep telling it. I will see you in the comments. Stay awake.